the show, everybody, on this Thursday, May 21st. It's 8:41 with Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, and Tabitha Hassel. I'm Vic Faust of Fox 2 News. So many topics today, lots going on. As we were going to break and as we wait for Ted Theodoropoulos from Burt Boot Camp to talk about his meeting yesterday with Sam Page and the other gym owners, hoping to find out when they could get an open date for the state of Missouri, or at least St. Louis County, Eric told us about this new situation called a COVID tax that's put on receipts at restaurants to help take care of cleaning, hand sanitizers, things of that nature. I had not heard of it. I had not seen it. Have you heard of it? Do you know anything about this?
I think it's real simple. You know, if the government says I can have 25% in my store and my menu is budgeted for 100% occupancy, and you've kept me closed for 2 months, and you're making me buy hand sanitizer, and you're making me put masks on all my employees, then yes, there has to be some kind of an upcharge. And
I don't agree with that at all. As a business owner, I absolutely do not. I would never want my customers to pay for me sanitizing and taking care of my business. That's overhead.
What?
That's tax deductible.
And what do you think
And
a
once again,
business
you two
owner
disagree.
does?
That's
Wait a
awesome.
minute.
We got Ted. Hey,
This is a slam dunk.
Hey, wait, but you know what? This is my fault for bringing it up, right? I didn't know when Ted was going to call in.
Your fault.
No, it's my fault that I brought up this great topic, and we got Ted on the line. Hey, Ted, sorry to keep you waiting. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Ted Theodoropoulos, the owner of Burton Boot Camp, had his meeting yesterday with Sam Page and some other gym owners, boutique owners, and big box owners, if you will. Tell us about what happened with this and where you are this morning. I kind of told some people, we had the stories on Fox 2 last night. It didn't seem like it turned out as great as you hoped it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I had two objectives going into the meeting. The first one was I wanted to listen on behalf of the numbers up to about 40 gym owners now that are behind this, and we wanted to understand what the concerns were. And, you know, I stated that in the very early portion of the meeting that, you know, we wanted to understand what the concerns were, specifics, you know, like we're concerned with the ventilation and, you know, so on and so forth. I got kind of a murky idea of that. I think they're still I think they're really just putting out fires. You know, they go from getting one business open and then scramble and then work on another. And you know, it's not a well thought out. They just don't have the resources. It's chaotic. It's a chaotic situation.
You beat my question. I was going to ask you, did you feel confident in the information they were giving you? Did they come and say, this is why we have to have this much shutdown going on? Because I kind of envisioned them handing numbers to you saying, if you don't stay shut down, we're going to have this many more cases. Or is it just kind of a willy-nilly thing going on?
Yeah, it was more of the latter. It was not, I did not. And, you know, maybe they have the data and this is all really, they got it all figured out behind the scenes, but that wasn't the conversation that we had yesterday. And, you know, I know they're trying, right? They were there, they listened, and, you know, we certainly appreciated that. You know, and the other thing that we really, really wanted out of the outcome of that meeting was we wanted a date. You know, it's not okay that casinos have a date, which is June 1st.
That's the best point, Ted. That makes no sense to me. Casinos, June 1st. Gyms, we'll get back to you whenever. Hey, did you, by the way, see that even Governor Pritzker in certain areas of Illinois is now allowing under 10 people in training facilities starting May 29th before you guys?
Oh, I know. And so I did not see that, but I did see where he essentially decriminalized if business owners decide to violate the order, so that there's no civil penalties or criminal penalties associated with it.
You're talking about Pritzker in Illinois, correct?
Yeah, that's Illinois. Yep. And in Ohio yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw it, but gyms, the ruling that gyms had to stay closed was found to be unconstitutional.
Yep, I saw it.
Violates the Ohio State Constitution. And I'm thinking, listen, I'm no constitutional law scholar, but I would imagine that the framework in Ohio is probably very similar to Missouri, and it's probably unconstitutional here as well. I don't know the details. I know Joe Corbett over there at House of Pain real well. He's a great guy. I support what he's doing. It's not, the approach we can take where we have a different demographic, and there'd be a lot of backlash if we went down that road. But he's fighting for what he believes in, and I respect that. But I don't know the details of the suit. Maybe you guys do. He has now gone on the offensive. He is now the plaintiff, and I'm wondering if he's suing the county in federal court on constitutional grounds.
I think it's on constitutional bounds, that the executive order is unconstitutional. And another lawsuit was filed yesterday by Missouri State Representative David Gregory on behalf of churches under the same grounds, seeking a restraining order immediately based on the fact that their First Amendment rights to assemble, were being violated when you're allowing 100% capacity at Home Depot and 25% capacity in a church of worship. So not to get too off the subject of what you guys were doing, but yeah, so a judge, we covered that at the beginning of the show, but to let everybody know, a federal judge is now in the process of deciding if they should or should not close those doors to House of Pain Gym in Maryland Heights and Chesterfield. So that's what you brought up. Hey, real quick, I'm curious. So did you get a date when you're going to find out about a date?
Meeting to meet.
I was trying to be funny.
Timeline, which is tomorrow. So, and I kind of had to press for that a little bit. So here's my concern is coming out of the meeting. Again, I appreciate that they spent the time with me. It was myself and the CEO from Club Fitness, who you guys have had on. Good guy, and they're trying hard just like we are. So they met with us together. I thought the subject of the meeting was going to talk about how boutique fitness is different than the big box situation, and obviously with us both in the room, that wasn't the conversation. So that was fine. But when I asked about the date, the comment was, well, yeah, we're looking at sometime in June, and I'm thinking sometime in June. If it's not June 1st. It's going to be mayhem. I mean, it's, there are gym owners who have vowed to not stay closed one day longer than casinos. And, and why wouldn't they? And the issue is, so the county does not control, as you guys know, when casinos open in St. Louis County. The state does. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares who makes the decision. All they care about is there's unfairness, and that the only value that casinos bring to society is putting revenue in the state and county coffers, and gyms don't do that, or to a much lesser extent. So that's the message here. People don't care whether it was the county, whether it was the state. The fact is, casinos are open, and it has to be dealt with. And I'm not sure that that's really their perspective. I don't know.
No, it's not their perspective. They're a bunch of doctors trying to tell you what to do. My question to you is, have you thought about civil disobedience on this thing, and maybe getting all of the gym owners together to do it at exactly the same time on the same date, and say and then be a plaintiff yourself and go after these guys in court on constitutional grounds? The only thing I can say is that they did try to do it in New Jersey, and they brought the health department against them, which is, to me, is the scariest thing of all.
But that costs so much money, though, for small gym owners to go and do.
Then let him answer this question. How much do you have in your war chest right now to stay closed? It's to me, it seems like your trade-off is coming to an end.
Right. It's so I will say this. If the date that they come back, they say June 30th, I'm no longer going to be part of the program, and we're going to have to reevaluate options. What options are available to us, and I will say that nothing is off the table.
Do you think they're itching for this fight? It just seems like they're so unflexible that they're challenging you to do this kind of thing. Do you feel like that?
So I don't. You know what? They could come tomorrow and say it's June 1st, and yet, great. We'll it's not perfect. I'd like to open Monday. I would have liked to open May 4th, like everybody else. But I'll live with June 1st. And so will everybody else who I've spoken with. about as far as like the civil disobedience thing, I mean, that is absolutely an option that's being discussed. But man, that creates such a mess. So if the county loses control and gym owners just start opening their doors and doing their own thing, then the county no longer has a playbook that they're going to hand to gym owners that they're going to listen to. The relationship is over, right? You can take that playbook and shove it where the sun doesn't shine, because I'm no longer having dialogue. That's going to be the attitude for some people, and that's bad, right? Because it's bad for me too, as a business owner, as a gym owner. I want my customers to come in and feel like there is safety and there is consistency, and that there's a vetted plan in place that's bought in at all levels of government. That they deserve that. But if everybody goes rogue and just throws open their doors, then there's no consistency. There's no vetted plan. So it's so important that that we do this together. But it's at risk, and I'm just hoping. I got my fingers crossed that Sam Page is going to come on TV tomorrow morning or whenever it is, and he's going to say, "Hey guys, we're working with the gym owners, and June 1st is the date." And then, hey, we all march off into the sunset and try and put this thing as far out of our memories as we possibly can. But so that's what we're hoping for.
And Ted, I know this is tough for everyone. I'm a business owner. My business has been closed since March the 6th, so I certainly understand. And going forward, I mean, for one, are you going to survive this if you cannot open soon? And are there any other options at all available to you? Perhaps maybe you can revise operations a little bit, have people work out outside, I mean, one at a time, just anything to possibly get you through this?
Well, so we have been luckier than most, and we very quickly kind of turned ourselves into an online training company, not knowing what the hell we were doing, just kind of winging it. We did it franchise-wide, and luckily we have a really strong franchisor, and they helped us through it. So we actually have maintained some revenue through this, and we're going to survive this. But that's not true for everybody. There are gyms who literally, like House of Pain, for just the gyms where you just go in and you do curls, you do your own thing. There's no sort of training element to it, and it's very equipment dependent. It's really hard to do what you're talking about. You can't, if you're somebody who lifts weights, going out to, a park and doing push-ups, it's not going to be the same. So, I think it's for a lot of gyms, that's a tall order. And B, the limit of 10 people per group also really gets in the way, because we've discussed it. I've got, our South County location is a former, it's where the new Fitz's Soda Shop is, and Incredible Pizza. It's an old Target. It has a parking lot, a mile wide. It's like 3 football fields. So we could absolutely do something out there. And, our landlord wants us to stay around. He's like, absolutely, have at it. But, I'm concerned about the whole 10 to a group thing. I don't know if, there's just so.
We appreciate you taking time today with us to give us an update on what happened at that meeting. I know it didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to. I appreciate your faith and your hope that Sam Page may come out and say June 1st that gym's open. I don't see it happening. I pray to God that I'm wrong, because I know a lot of you, and I appreciate the work that you do, and I'm a fitness buff myself. But keep us posted on what's going on. And, of course, we're continuing to follow Joe Corbett and his House of Pain battle federally going after the county. And he's not the only one when it comes to federal lawsuits going at the county. So, Ted, we appreciate it. Ted Theodopoulos, the owner of Burn Boot Camp.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. And if things go a different direction tomorrow, next week's conversation will be a little more colorful.
Hey, thanks for calling your shot, man. I appreciate it. You have been patient. You guys have been patient. So we'll continue to talk to you. Thanks again, Ted.